Hey YouTube, it's me Bet, aka Bet's Getting Better. Hello, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for being here with me, whether it's for your first time or you're back and you've watched some of my previous videos. Either way, thanks for being here. Thank you to anyone that subscribed, who's joining me very early on this YouTube journey. Whatever it is, figuring it out as I go. Um, but yeah, I'm here again with another video. Last week, we discussed validating yourself, making yourself feel worthy, all of that. And this week's video was inspired by things going on in my life at the moment, which are very normal human things that we all deal with. Just unexpected things coming up in my path, which I won't get into detail, but just a bit of chaos in existence at the moment, which I know we all go through. So I was inspired again to make this week's video about how important mindset is, how this is another big part of playing the game, like we've been talking about. Mindset being something that you're going to be able to fall back on in chaotic times, really whenever you need to, whenever you're feeling drained, maybe you're even to the point of feeling hopeless. Um, However you're feeling, whenever you need to tap into those reservoirs, that's where your mindset is going to come in. And the reason why it's so important is because I'm sure, as we all know, there are going to be a lot of times on this journey where you're maybe not feeling it, or something comes up out of nowhere and you start questioning why, and you can't make sense of where you're headed. Um, Uncertainty, chaos, all of those things. You have to be able to rein yourself back in, or reel yourself back in, rein in those thoughts. That's going to be very hard to do if you haven't gotten your mind on that track, trained your mind to be able to change perspective when you need to, on the fly, sometimes if you need to. And I think one of the biggest things you have to sort of make sense of is that this life, the universe, the game, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, God works in mysterious ways to get you to where you want to be, to get you to where you've asked to be, to get you to where you're meant to be. And those methods, those scenarios don't always make sense to us. They're not always going to make sense to us. It's not always going to be something that feels good. In fact, a lot of times it's something that we don't want, something that's very painful, something that might cause suffering in our eyes, in our mind. And if you can't get yourself through those tough times, if you can't get your mind on track with where you're headed, it just makes things that much more worse. It just makes the pain, the feelings that you're experiencing much, much worse. It increases the suffering maybe much more than it needs to be. There's a lot of teachers' videos out on YouTube that speak about looking at obstacles and chaotic situations that come into your life and onto your path as things that are happening for you rather than things that are happening to you. And I think that really just hits at home. No matter what's happening in your life, regardless of how unneeded or unfair you think it is, it's something that eventually you're just going to have to accept was part of the journey, was part of the game. As crazy and as messed up as that sounds sometimes, because I know there's some of you out there that have been through some pretty shitty things. But as messed up as it sounds, that's just the way the world is. That's just the way this game is played. And your tool is your mindset, being able to use your mind to shift your perspective, to look at things in a way that makes it so anything that you have to go through, you are looking at it as something that's molding you, something that's making you better, something that you had to experience for knowledge, for strength, for whatever might be needed on your specific personal journey. And like I always say, it's hard to do. um, None of these things come easy. And it's a path that not many follow, I think. Some people might dabble. Some people might start off with positivity, um, religion, all of those entry level things. But really allowing whatever we're doing here to change you and to change your mind and to change your soul, the depths of you as a person, it's not for the weak. It takes immense amounts of strength. It takes so much balance from so many different parts of you. And your mind being one of those things, it's really just something that you're going to have to reconcile in due time through each challenge, through each obstacle that you are faced with. No matter how much you don't want to do it, you're just going to have to get through it. And sometimes the only thing you're going to have is you saying to yourself that it's taking you to where you need to be, that it's going to come and it's going to go. I think we all get started on this self improvement, spiritual path, and at first, sometimes it can be so amazing, seeing ourselves change, seeing ourselves grow. But I think what really sets you apart from people who are just dabbling and people who are really making this their life, making it their lifestyle to like live consciously and to live in a way where they are just taking everything in, all of these experiences, all of these signs, and they're trying to create the life that they know they are meant to have. It's when the hard times come, because I'm sure so many of us think the pain is going to ease up when you start to do better for yourself. The suffering is going to go away, and that's just not true. It doesn't go away. You're just given the experiences to create the tools that you need to turn your pain and suffering into all of the things that you're asking for. And that shit is so scary sometimes. But through your mind and your mindset, you have to learn to let go of those fears, and you have to really be able to soothe yourself like you're a little baby sometimes, that everything's going to be okay and that this wouldn't have came your way if it wasn't going to be okay. And disciplining your mind to be able to stay focused on where you're headed, 'cause sometimes that's all you're gonna have. Sometimes what's right in front of you isn't going to look how you want it to look. And that's where your mind is going to be your best friend. You, you pushing through it. You have to be able to get to a point where you know you can do anything. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this game is that it's all about how I'm taking in things and processing things through these eyes, through my soul. And if I can get my mind on track with the universe and where it's taking me, it's going to make the journey that much smoother. It may still hurt, the pain is still there, but now I can tell myself that it's making me better, that it's giving me something that I was missing, that it's an even exchange. One of the many sacrifices that have to be made on this path. Tough, tough lesson. But yeah. Mindset. You have to get it together. It's just one of the steps.